Now that I've got the basic outline of my dungeon completed, I can add some more details to this. So the first thing I did was I took my original sketch and I drew in some details from the sketch. I added some pillars and stairs and doors and such. Okay, so the first step I'm going to do is to align these two layers. So I'm going to change this one to multiply mode and then move it into position so that the two layers are aligned as close as I can. I'm going to scroll in and then use the arrows to nudge this into positions until I get to the point where they look like they're in pretty good alignment with each other. So that looks pretty good. Now I want to create three layers, one of them with the dark background, one of them with the white floor, and then a third layer with my interior details. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I see I've got a couple of gaps here, and so I'm going to use the paintbrush to close off those gaps before I go further. Okay, I fixed up those little gaps. I'm going to go to my background, and I'm just going to turn this one off for now. I've switched over, by the way, this is Designer I'm using now, and I've switched over to the Pixel Persona. So I'm working in Designer, but I'm using the Pixel Persona. That enables me to use some of these other tools like the flood selection tool. So first I'm going to select this, and then I can just Control C and Control V that, and that creates another background. Now I want to go back to this original layer, and I'm going to invert the selection, and then I'm going to Control C and Control V that one to create a copy of that layer. So now I'm got the first the dark outline and the light interior, but now I want to try to get the additional details from this layer. So I'm just going to turn these other layers off, and I'm going to invert the selection again. So now I'm selecting the interior part of this, and that looks good. I'm going to copy that and paste it. And that's still set to multiply mode, so I'm going to turn off the multiply and turn off this layer. So now I've got that interior part, but what I really want is to select just these objects. So I'm going to, first of all, let's see, well I guess I'm going to increase the contrast and brightness on that layer. To get rid of that, the grid lines as much as possible. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to, so now I'm going to select that layer, and I'm going to use the selection tool to select that. And now I'm going to invert that selection. And so now I should just have the object selected. I'm going to copy and paste that as a new layer. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off and check it out. And yes, I just have the object selected. So now I'm going to bring, let's see, this layer up to the very top. I can, let's see, let me try that again. This layer I want to be on the top. Turn that on. Okay, and then this layer is going to be on the bottom, and then this layer is going to be in between. And then I can deselect those. So now I have my three layers, and I can turn off this one, I could turn off this one if I wanted to and turn off that one. Okay, so I've got the 3 different layers. Now the other thing I want to do is to bring in a graph on this, and I want to have the option to turn that graph on or off. So I'm going to go out to my quad graph. I've changed it to sort of a brownish color. I'm going to select all of it and copy that and then paste that into my other drawing like that. And then I'm going to, now I have to align this with my grid, and so I'm going to turn off the other layers and turn on this one, which had the original grid, and the grids are not the same size, so it's going to take me a while to get this aligned. So I'm going to start, and I can see that my brown grid is a little bigger than the other grid. So I'm going to start by just decreasing that a little bit and then going and lining these up. And I can see that it's, as I walk across here, it's still larger, and so I'm going to keep doing that until I get this as closely aligned as I can. Okay, I think I have that pretty close now, so I'm actually going to bring this down until it's underneath and turn these other layers on. Yeah, so this layer is under, and I'm going to turn this layer off and this one back on. So now I have the grid underneath there, and I can turn that grid on or off. And so I could print, make one copy with the grid off and make another copy with the grid turned on. The other thing I can do is to bring in my hex grid and do the same thing. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select my hexagon grid, bring that one in, and over here, and paste that one in, and then I'll do the same thing with that one. So this isn't quite the right size, so I'm going to adjust the size first, and then I'll be able to turn that one, toggle that one on or off if I want to. Okay, I've got the hexagon grid aligned now, set up to the same dimensions as the other grid, and so I could toggle on the square grid or toggle on the hexagon grid. So I could make 3 different maps, one with no grid, one with the hex grid, and one with the square grid.